Hello. हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम टू अनअकैडमी। आज की इस सेशन को स्टार्ट करने से पहले आई एम जस्ट wants to have a concurrence as well as input regarding the quality of video as well as audio. If it has been perfect, just write perfect over the live chat and then we are going to start. So let me focus over the important feature as well as the batches which we had for you guys. Such an affordable price, and that too, this batch is going to start from 15th of December onwards. The Sujay sir is going to take the classes on signal and system. So as you can see very well, this batch has been framed taking in our mind that we have been preparing the student for GATE 2024. Our mode of communication is going to be in English. What does it mean of it? That means the terminologies, the technical words, definitely they would be revealed in English only, but the remaining language or the explanation part is going to be in Hindi. And at the same time, the electrical electronics, both of the faculties you can see over this thumbnails, this many faculties are going to cover your entire syllabus. Whenever you have been purchasing the Pratigya batch, the code which you guys are being used is being GA1111. Yes, just a minute. So the amount of money which you guys has to pay, like if you have been taking the subscription for the 15 month, just 4,499 rupees you had to pay. For the subscription of 30 months, you just had to pay 6,490. Keep in mind, probably if you'll go back around 2 to 3 years, the single subject has this much pricing, and now you will be getting around 12 number of subjects in electrical with the same pricing and 10 number of subjects in electronics and that in same pricing. Such a good faculty members you are going to experience at the same time with such a good platform of Unacademy, technically completely equipped. Agreed? The amount of hour which we are going to spend together, if we'll talk about our recorded course, so approximately 1360 hours for mechanical English. For civil it has been 1324, for the electrical it's been 1513, and similarly for the electronics it has been more than 1400 number of hours. 1400 number of hours. Agreed? And same goes with the CS and IT as well as. So I would request just one thing here. What else you want? Just tell me what else you want. If you really wants to have a one-to-one communication, guided communication, or if you really wants to come with us so that we can guide in each and individual part, definitely you should onboard with us. And the next thing which I have been repeating again and again, whenever you have been purchasing any kind of product which I had just shown, you had to use the code, and that has been GA1111. Anyways, let me come back to the agenda behind today's video. So here comes the question based on the concept of continuity and the existence of the limit. But so far the different kind of questions which we had seen, they had been carrying only one independent variable, but now as you can see over the digital board, the two number of independent variables are being carried by this function. I can say this function is being the bivariate independent function. Read the problem carefully and tell me what could have been the best most answer for this given question. What the problem states? What is the value of limit x has been tending 0, y has been tending 0 of xy divided by x square plus of y square? The four different options are being attached along with this problem, and this question is being experienced by civil engineering people. So read the problem carefully and tell me what could have been the best most answer. What could have been the best most answer? Read the problem carefully. Tell me. This one. Read the problem carefully and tell me what could have been the best most answer. So let me go down so that I can show you. I can see you the comment as well. Tell me, what would be the best most answer for this given question? Read the problem carefully and tell me what could have been the best most answer. So probably within 1 minute, you must be able to conquer this problem. If this has been a new kind of the problem or the problem which had not been seen earlier, so definitely you may take 2 to 3 minutes, but it should not go more than 3 minutes at any cost. And whenever the problem do come from this segment, usually they carry 2 marks. So in that terms also, you can take 2 to 3 minutes for this given question. Read the problem carefully and tell me what could have been the best most answer. Read the problem carefully and tell me what could have been the best most answer. Tell me. What could have been the best most answer? Read the problem carefully and tell me what could have been the best most answer. Tell me what could have been the best most answer for this given question. Anyways, let me write few of the important fact regarding this problem. The first and important point has been, so far we did not have any kind of problem where the function was carrying two number of independent variables, but now we had a problem which carries the two number of independent variables. So yes, this has been a problem of limit and continuity. This has been a problem of limit slash continuity where the function carries two number of independent variables. How did I know about it? Just have a look of the given function. The function carries x as well as y. So I can say this is been a function which carries the two independent variables and they have been x and y. So obviously that is nothing but xy divided by of x square plus of y square. Agreed? The next important point is, in this problem they had been seeking for the limit. Anyways, the answer may come after solving this problem, but if the limit do not exist, the D is going to be the option. So not only you had to go behind its answer, you also had to scrutinize whether the limit exactly does exist at x is equals to 0 and y is equals to 0 or not. So yes, this has been a problem of a limit where the function carries the two independent variable and they have been f of x comma y, That is also great, sir. The next and important thing has been, my dear friend, when you had been dealing with the problem related to the limit, when the function was carrying only and only one independent variable, what was my approach? The approach was, let's take, this has been a test point where the limit is to be calculated for a certain given function. Let's take it's been f of c. So what I was doing, all the way I was approaching x is equals to c from left hand side and then I was approaching from right hand side. Approaching, that means I did not exactly reach to x is equals to c. I had just stopped myself before c. If you have been reaching from left hand side, you will be reaching fc minus, and similarly if you'll be starting from right hand side, you will be able to reach till f of c plus. And if the f of c minus as well as f of c plus is being same, or I should say just before and just after c, if there had not been any abrupt change in the magnitude of f, by default the limit do exist. What exactly mean of it? The meaning has been quite straight. Left hand limit and right hand limit, if it has been same, left hand limit and right hand limit, if it has been same, the limit do exist and worth of their values is been the answer. And if left hand limit is not been equals to of right hand limit, if f of c minus is not been equals to of f of c plus, so I would only say one thing, the limit does not exist. Non-existence of the limit. Yes, sir. Till this point, I don't find any of the student would have any kind of doubt now. So this kind of process or this kind of methodology is already been followed when we were discussing about the concept of continuity and existence of the limit with a function which carries one independent variable, like this kind of problem, e to the power of minus x, x square, so on and so forth. But this problem has been a problem where the two number of independent variables are being carried out. So may I know how I should be able to know that the function do exist at x is equal to 0 and y is equal to 0 or not? First, try to understand this has not been a contour as we had earlier. Like if you had been one independent variable, definitely you are going to have a contour which would be drawn over the xy plane. here the x and y both have been variable, and with respect to the x and y even the z is also been variable, so it is going to make a surface, or I would say it would be a 3D structure. So tentatively let me draw a 3D structure. Here comes y-axis, here comes x-axis, and with respect to the x and y, let's take the function is been changing its worth, and let's take this has been a function axis or z-axis, function axis or z-axis. I had taken a random function, and let's take the random function had a structure something like this. Just a minute. Random function has a structure something like this. Like this. Yes. Random function has a structure something like this, which is going to be kind of surface. If you have been looking for the existence of a limit, let's take a certain point. That point has to be identified with respect to the x as well as y. So yes, you should have a vertical distance from the x, that has been y, and vertical distance from y, that has been x. So obviously you must have a clear cut idea where the existence of the limit and the continuity is being checked out. So for a function which carries only and only one independent variable, you will take a test point as a x is equals to c. Whereas if you had a function which carries the two number of independent variable, the test point is going to be a point of x as well as y. Then only you will be able to identify that point very well. So yes sir. So yes, this is going to be a point. Let's say this point could have been a and b. May I know how will you exactly know whether the function is being continuous, the limit do exist or not? Anyways, let me focus over the limit existence. If you have been coming to this point from either of the direction, here only two directions you had. Either you could have come from left hand side or right hand side, and that is why you had only two limits, left hand limit and right hand limit. But here there are been the infinite different paths through which you could have come to this point. What I'm saying, here you had an infinite number of paths. You could have come from upside, you could have come to the downside, you could have come to the bottom side. There are been the infinitely many directions through which you could have reached to the a comma b. And if you have been coming from either of the side, and if you have been reaching to the same worth of the function, you had been coming exactly, you could not reach to a comma b, still you had been stopping yourself before a comma b from the different path. And if each and individual path is been resulting the same worth, there means there had not been any bump, or there had not been any abrupt change in the function around a comma b, and that is why I can say the function has been found to be a continuous in nature. Did you understand what's been the difference? The difference has been either two way through which you could have reached to your test point, but here there are been the infinite different ways you could have reached to your test point. Agreed what I am saying? So let me focus over this function once again, and keep in mind the methodology which I have been following with this question, it would remain same everywhere. It would remain same everywhere. Just a minute. It would remain same everywhere. Which one should we choose? And this one I'm choosing. Yes. What I would be doing, I need to reach to x is equals to 0 and y is equals to 0. So you can take any kind of equation or any kind of function, I should say, which satisfy x is equals to 0 and y is equals to 0. Or I should say, I can take any kind of contour which passes through 0 comma 0. Either I could have taken x is equals to y, either I could have taken x is equals to y square, either I could have taken y is equals to x square, even I could have taken y is equals to m into x, where the m is being slope. The different slope still must be passing through 0 comma 0. So what I would be doing, I would take a equation of a contour which satisfy or which crosses through x is equals to 0 comma y is equals to 0. Obviously I could have taken that contour as y is equals to mx. That contour is being taken as y is equals to mx. Agreed sir? Whether I need to specify the value of m? No, not required, because whenever you will be keeping x is equals to 0, by default the y also turns to be 0. So as such, in that sense, it is not at all been required. It is not at all been required. Yes sir. Now what I would do actually, I would keep y is equals to m into x in the given function as well as in the limit as well. So let me do so. So what I would be doing, I would be keeping y is equals to mx. X is already been there. The y has been fed as mx. Yes sir, that is fine sir. And towards denominator side we had a x square plus of y. Y has been kept as mx raised to the power of 2. See, this contour is reaching to x is equals to 0 and y is equals to 0. So virtually speaking, if y is equals to mx reaches to x is equals to 0, by default y becomes 0, at least through this equation, and this equation or this outcome is already been fed to this equation. So what's been the advantage we have been getting? So far you had a two number of variables and that they were x and y, but now it had been reduced to 1. And at the same time x and y both are trying to go to 0, so rather focusing over both, you can just take x as 0, because once you will be feeding x is equals to 0, virtually even the y is also been tending towards 0, y is also tending towards 0. Agreed, sir? Agreed, sir. So let me move forward. What I would do now, it has been a problem related to the limit which contains one independent variable. Let me rule out the common terminologies which are been present in numerator and denominator. You can see very well the x square is being present in numerator in first term as well as second term. So the component which has been left out is been simply m divided by of 1 plus m square. Anyways, now the limit x tends to 0 does not make sense, because this function is being completely free from x, at least when the y is being kept as m. So the result which we have been expecting over here, it is simply been m divided by of 1 plus m square. May I know what's the conclusion which we can deduce out of it? This indicates if the value of m is being changed. Let's take the value of m is being taken as 1. Now the limit is been 1 divided by of 2. If the value of m is being taken as minus of 1, it becomes minus 1 divided by t. What exactly mean of it? What is been the exactly mean of it? It indicates y is equals to mx is being a straight line which will definitely cross through 0 comma 0. But if you come down from a different directions, y is equals to mx, if m is been changing, definitely directions are being keep changing. If you will be coming from different directions, the magnitude is been different. And if the magnitudes are been different, what does it actually mean of it? The limit does not exist. So as far as this problem is being concerned, I can only say the limit does not exist for this given function. That must be known to all of us. The limit does not exist. And I would request to each one of you, at least you guys must have a little bit idea with this kind of the problem. Whether this concept has been clear to all of us. Agreed? If the answer must have been free from m, if you want to write, you can write somewhere. If the answer must have been free from m, in that case, our reference of either of the value of m will reach to the same value, and hence the function would be continuous. Did you understand what I am saying? So let me do one thing. Let me recraft a problem and little bit change I have been introducing over here. Let's take the limit is still the x has been trying to go to 0. Y is also trying to go to 0. Now the function is being changed a bit, and it had been written as a x square divided by of x square plus of y square. Still you had been trying to reach to x tends to 0 and y tends to 0. Virtually speaking, y is equals to mx curve could have been reaching to this point. So again I had been doing the same thing, and once I have been doing the same thing, so here it becomes x square divided by x square plus m square plus of x square. Still the outcome is been very same, and this is been 1 divided by of 1 plus m square. And as you will change the value of m, the value of limit would also change, or I would say if you have been taking the different path to reach 0 comma of 0, it had been reaching to the different magnitude, and I can say very well, yes, the function does not had the limit at 0 comma 0. Now let me do one thing. I could have taken one more outcome. May I know what that had been? What could have been that? So rather taking xy, if this could have been taken as x square into y, now you yourself would be able to predict what must be the answer in that case. Yes. Thanks. Tatikunda, thanks dear. If I take x square into y, in that case, what must have been the answer over there? My dear friend, in that case, again the same thing must have been done. Again, you had to search a contour which must be crossing through 0 comma 0. You could have taken y is equals to mx, where the m could be plus 1 minus 2, anything. But one thing has been quite sure, when the x has been kept 0, y becomes 0. Virtually speaking, y is equals to mx is always been passing through 0 comma 0. Again, I would be doing the same thing. Rather focusing x and y both forcing towards 0, I could have focused only over the x tends to 0, and definitely y could have been fed as mx. So here it becomes x square, and here comes m into x, and towards denominator side it has been x square m x raised to the power of 2. mx raised to the power of 2. Agreed what I'm saying? Now, if we'll try to feed x tends to 0, again, the x cube is been common towards numerator, here x square and x square. Virtually speaking, this has been a different case in compare with the last two problems. Here the x is still been remained. And here towards denominator side, it has been 1 plus m square. And once you'll feed x is equals to 0, so irrespective of the value of m, this value has been reaching towards 0. And as this value has been reaching towards 0, now we can say, yes, limit do exist at x is equals to 0, or x is equals to 0, comma y is equals to 0, and the answer is being C. Answer is being C. Gopal Rao, is that part clear? So probably this concept must be clear to all of us, and you can expect this question in electrical and electronic side as well, because this question has already been asked in civil engineering, and in future you can expect this question in electrical and electronic side as well. Now they could have asked the next thing as well. What could have been that? What could have been that? They must have asked at x tends to 0 and y tends to 0 whether the function is being continuous or not. Anyways, the limit has not been matched, and as the limit has not been matched, by default the function won't be continuous at x tends to 0, y tends to 0, or reaching to 0, 0. So obviously the function is being discontinuous in nature. So I don't think this kind of problem in future you'll have any kind of doubt. So let me move into the next question. Deliberately I had designed the next question such that you guys would have a little better idea, because this kind of problems are been very rare in GATE examination, and that is why just for sake of better practice I had taken this question. See what the problem states. We had a linear polynomial towards numerator which contains two number of independent variable, and same like denominator, there also we had a linear polynomial. Rather going to 0, 0, I had tried to go to 1, 1. So I need to calculate its limit. If limit does not exist, D is going to be the answer, and if limit do exist, obviously either A, B or C must have been the answer. Read the problem carefully and tell me what could have been the best most answer. So the concept wise, now you have been almost clear. Just plug and play. Just apply the concept which we had already dealt earlier and tell me what could have been the best most answer. What could have been the best most answer? Now again, the student who have been writing the comment, I would ask to them again, can I feed y is equals to mx? Yes or no? I want the answer for this assumption first. Can I keep y is equals to mx? Y is equals to mx, where the m could be any slope, could be positive, negative, anything? No, I can't. I can't. Why? Whenever I had to feed x is equals to 1, by default the y has to become 1. That means I need a contour which must be crossing through 1, 1. Earlier, we need to cross through 0, 0. So irrespective of the value of m, whenever the x becomes 0, the y was becoming 0. And that is why deliberately I had taken y is equals to mx. But now y is equals to mx is not going to be a contour always which will cross through 1, 1. No, 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 no. Gopal Rao, could you really understood? Can I take y is equals to mx? No, 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 you can't take now. You can't take now. First of all, if you have been taking y is equals to x, I will be happy with that. Why? Because once you'll feed x is equals to 1, y is becoming 1. So put together, I can say in 3D structure, if you'll focus over the x is equals to 1, y is equals to 1. So y is equals to x, which has been a straight line over the xy plane, definitely crosses through 1, 1. And that is why the scrutiny of continuity or the existence of the limit can be made using y is equals to x, but you can't make with a y is equals to minus x. You can't make with a y is equals to 2x. If you'll keep y is equals to 2x while feeding x is equals to 1, the y would become 2. Definitely you had not been reaching to the point of observation or the point of scrutiny. You didn't. So no, we can't, sir, we can't. So definitely what I would do, I would take 2 or 3 different paths, and end of the day we will try to learn whether all of the paths are been reaching to the same magnitude. If it has been so, I can say the limit do exist. Otherwise we will say no sir, limit does not exist. Limit does not exist. So I would say, Gopal Rao, first you can discard this. Why? Because if you feed m is equals to, let's take 2. So this straight line becomes y is equals to 2x, and when you feed x is equals to 1, the y becomes 2, or I can say you did not pass through the point of observation, and that is been 1, 1. That's different story together. If you keep m is equals to 1, I would say, okay, you can go ahead because at least you have been crossing through your point of interest. So y is equals to x, yes, you can go ahead. Why so? Because once you keep x is equals to 1, by default, the y is also becoming 1. Y is also becoming 1. Agreed? Okay. May I know any other equation which has been satisfying x is equals to 1 and y is equals to 1, or any kind of different linear or polynomial equation which satisfies x is equals to 1 and y is equals to 1? And there are many. There are many. You could have taken y is equals to 2x minus of 1. Once you'll feed x is equals to 1, you will get to know the y is also been 1. So I can say y is equals to x, y is equals to 2x minus 1, y is equals to 3x minus 2. There have been several kinds of equation which has been satisfying x is equals to 1 and y is equals to 1, or virtually speaking, they had been crossing through 1 comma 1. Quite okay, sir. Quite okay. So you could have taken this as well. But at least two different varieties of the equations you must have. Then only you will be able to cross check. Then only you will be able to cross check whether the magnitude through this path or contour and the magnitude through this path or contour, whether we have been reaching to the same value or not. If it has been reaching to the same value, I can say from the different path you had been trying to reach to the same magnitude. As we had in case of single variable, we had been trying to reach to the same value and the limit do exist, otherwise it won't. So what we would do, we would keep those values now. So I think it's been the right time. I should be taking both of them. So here starts my calculation part. The first, I would keep y is equals to x. Y is equals to x. As the y is been fed as x, so by default, this becomes 2y, y is been fed as x, 2x, and similarly 2x. So virtually speaking, this is been 4x plus 2x divided by of x plus x, and now here I can keep x tends to 0, x tends to 1, because when the x would be tending to 1, by default y would also be tending to 1, y would also be tending to 1. So the result which we have been expecting over here, it's been 4 plus 2, that is been 6, 6x divided by of 2x. So here it becomes limit x is been tending towards 1, and towards numerator side we had a 6x, and towards denominator we had a 2x, xx has gone, and the result has been 3. Still we can't say the limit has been 3. We had to scrutinize further. So for that, what we have been doing, we had been taking the second path as well. So here comes y is equals to 2x minus of 1. Okay, sir. Limit. Instead the y, the 2x minus of 1 would be fed. It's already been 4 of x. Then here comes plus of 2y. Y has been 2x minus of 1. And towards denominator side, you had x, x would remain x. And now the y would be fed as 2x minus of 1. 2x minus of 1. Agreed? Yes, sir. And now again, I should be taking the same one. The x must be tending towards 1. X must be tending towards 1. So let me go forward, and you can see only one variables are been involved over here. X is again been tending towards 1. So what had been happening, just you yourself would be able to judge it. 4x plus 4x, that becomes 8x. 8x minus of 1. 8x minus of 1. That is what it has been. No? Sorry, 2 it has been. 8x minus of 2 it has been. Minus of 2 it has been. And towards denominator side, okay, so here at towards denominator side it had been 3x minus of 1. 3x minus of 1. And again I would feed x tends to 1. And once I will feed x tends to 1, put together 8x, 8 gets multiplied with 1, that has been 6, divided by of 2, and you yourself would be able to see now both are been reaching to the same worth. Both are been reaching to the same worth. Yes. Even Gopal Rao extremely well. I am very glad that you had taken a equation of parabola as well, because y is equals to x square is been a upper facing parabola that would also cross through 1 comma 1. even 0 comma 0. So the equation which you had taken, no Gopal Rao, y is equals to x square, you could have checked for the 0 comma 0 as well as. Why? Because y is equals to x square is been a contour or is been a path which crosses through 0 comma 0 as well as 1 comma 1. Even in first problem I was scrutinizing the limit existence at 0 comma 0, so definitely you could have taken that function as well, but here you could have taken this as well, yeah, yes, this as well. So let me do one thing, let me try this out. So as Gopal Rao has been saying, definitely I would be taking the next curve which must be passing through 1 comma 1, and that is been y is equals to x square. Okay, then what I would do now, so here 4x would remain 4x, anyways the limit should also come over here, limit x tends to 1. Why I had kept x tends to 1? Because once you'll feed x is equals to 1, by default y is also becoming 1, and you are trying to reach to 1 comma 1, that's fine actually. So here it becomes 4 of x plus 2, and now the y would be fed as x square, 2x square, and towards denominator side you yourself would be able to understand the x would be kept as x and the y would be kept as x square, and again x would be fed as 1, and once x is been fed as 1, the linear polynomial becomes 1, even the square of polynomial becomes also 1, 4 plus 2 that has been 6, and towards denominator side it has been 2, and you yourself would be able to understand there also the answer has been 3, Gopal Rao, could you really understood? If you take any kind of equation, even the cubic equation, biquadratic equation, if they had been crossing through 1 comma 1, you will get to know that yes sir, either you take the first path where I was approaching 1 comma 1 through a straight line with the slope is equals to 1. I was approaching to 1 comma 1 using a straight line with the slope is equals to 2. I was approaching to the point y is equals to x square. They all are being the same worth. Anyways, Gopal, if you have been commenting, so let me go a bit deeper. This has been x-axis, this has been y-axis, and the z-axis as the function of x and y is been towards outside. Actually, your point of interest has been 1 comma 1. What I am saying, your point of interest has been 1 comma 1. And now there have been the several ways you could have reached to the 1 comma 1. The first one is y is equals to x. How the y is equals to x looks like? The y is equals to x looks something like this. Y is equals to x looks something like this. This has been a straight line, and obviously crossing through the origin because the value of c is been 0. The next has been y is equals to of 2x minus of 1. What does it actually mean of it? That means the slope is being 2 now. And similarly, if we'll keep x is equals to 0, the value of y you will be getting if you'll keep a value of y is equals to 0, you will be finding the value of x is equals to of 1 by 2. So again this has been another straight line. Agreed? And now y is equals to x square has been another parabola, I should say. It has been another parabola, kind of this. And they all are been trying to reach to this point. Exactly, they didn't reach to this point. Why? Because the limit indicates I was trying to reach to the point, but exactly I couldn't reach to that point. And now you yourself would be able to understand. Through this path, you had been reaching to this point. Through this path, you are trying to reach to this point. Through this path, you had been trying to reach to this point. And the magnitude which you had calculated, while you have tried to reach to this path, or this path, they are being very same. Yes, and that is what I can say. The limit do exist for this given function. Now the next question could have been raised from the same question is been whether it has been a continuous at 1 comma 1 or not. So if I would have been a creator of this problem, I could have given only and only function, and that must have been carry the two number of independent variables, and I could have asked at 1 comma 1 the function is been continuous or discontinuous. For that, actually what we had to do, we had to find its limit, and at the same time we also had to find the worth of the function precisely at 1 comma 1. I would like to know from the student who have been keep watching. So tell me, Gopal Rao, at 1 comma 1 the given function, is it been continuous or discontinuous? Is it been continuous or discontinuous? I expect in future this kind of the questions are going to get raised. This kind of the questions are going to get raised. Continuous. Why? Limit, that means you are trying to reach to 1 comma 1. Exactly, you didn't reach to 1 comma 1. But if you say the worth of the function precisely at 1 comma 1, what I would do? Straight away I would feed 4x as 1, 2 as 1, and similarly towards denominator x as 1 and y as 1. Put together 4 plus 2, that is been 6, divided by 2, that is again been 3. So I can say you were trying to reach to where? X is equals to 1 and y is equals to 1 from the different path. Then also the answer is been 3. And when you were calculating the worth of the function precisely at x is equals to 1 and y is equals to 1, there also worth has been 3. There also worth has been 3. Is that part clear? Is that part clear to all of us? I don't find any of the students would have any kind of doubt now. Okay then. So I think in future, if any kind of the problem do come into the picture, which carries the 2 number of independent variable, and they have been talking about the continuity or differentiability, definitely you guys must be able to crack this problem out. So here comes the third question. This question is being raised in GATE electrical year of 2017. The problem was framed by IIT Roorkee. Read the problem carefully and tell me what could have been the best most answer. What the problem states: a function f of x. Keep in mind there had been the difference between the function which we had taken right now and the function which we had already dealt in the last 2 questions. It carries only and only one independent variable. Either you take the first function or the second function, where x belongs to the family of a real number. Which one of the following statement is true? The 4 different statements are being given along with this problem. Tell me what would have been the best most answer for this given question. Fx is not differentiable at x is equals to 1 for any value of a and b. Fx is differentiable at x is equals to 1 for unique value of a and b. Fx is differentiable at x is equals to 1 for all values of a and b such that a plus b is equals to c. And the last has been fx is differentiable at x is equals to 1 for all value of a and b. Virtually speaking, the test which has to be conducted for this given function is being differentiability test. And my point of observation you can see in either of the option is being x is equals to 1, because x is equals to 1 is been a changeover point where one function is being died down and the another function has been taken over. So at x is equals to 1, the differentiability test is to be performed, and we had to find it out which option looks more accurate. Tell me what would have been the answer for this given question. What would have been the answer for this given question? Tell me what would have been the answer for this given question. Anyways, in this question, they had been seeking the continuity at x is equals to 1. As we know, until and unless the function is not been a continuous, it can't be differentiable at that point. So if you say the function is found to be differentiable at x is equals to 1, by default it should also have been the continuity at x is equals to 1. So virtually speaking, whenever the problem are being brought from the concept of differentiability, by default the continuity should also be able to addressed. So what I am saying, in this problem x is equals to 1 is been a test point. I would conduct a differentiability test at x is equals to 1, and at the same time I would also conduct the continuity test at x is equals to 1, because until and unless the function is not been continuous at x is equals to 1, it can't be differentiable at x is equals to 1. That is for sure. Agreed, sir. How will I perform the continuity test? There had been a short trick for that. You had to calculate f of c minus f of c plus and the worth of the function at x is equals to c. And if all three are been same, definitely the function would be found as a continuous at the test point x is equals to c. And you yourself would be able to see my test point is being x is equals to 1. So I need to find the worth of the function just before the test point, that is being c minus, just after the test point, that is been c plus, that is also been called as a left hand limit, right hand limit, and the worth of the function precisely at x is equals to c. As it had been clearly understood, my test point is been 1, so I need to find the worth of the function at f minus, and then I need to find the worth of the function at f1 plus and at f of 1, f1, f of 1. So let me go ahead, my dear friend. 1 minus, that means you need to find the worth just before x is equals to 1, and you yourself would be able to understand this function is being valid just only and only with the reason where the x is been greater than equals to of 1. If you are been lesser than 1 or you have been playing lesser than 1, definitely this function is going to be a valid function. So I can say f of 1 minus is simply going to be e to the power of 1. F of 1 plus is going to be ln of 1 plus ax square, x is again been 1, plus of bx, x is again been 1, and has to be equals to, again I will feed x is equals to 1. So same, one of the same actually, yes. So virtually speaking, once you will connect them together, ln of 1 is been 0, so this is been e is equals to of a plus b, e is equals to of a plus b. So one thing has been quite sure, what I am saying, one thing has been quite sure, if you ensure the a and b added together is being a exponent value, by default you can say the function would be continuous at x is equals to 1 for any route. Now we need to perform the differentiability test as well. For that, the left hand derivative has to be equals to a right hand derivative. Let me take the differentiation of left hand side, taking the reference of x is equals to 1, that is been e to the power of x. Once you'll differentiate it, it's again been e to the power of x, and that is been e to the power of 1 only. And now again let me differentiate the second term, and that has been ln of x. Once you'll differentiate it, it has been 1 upon x. Yes, it has been 1 upon x, and now the x would again be fed as 1. So it has been 1 plus the differentiation of ax square has been 2 times of a into x. X has been again 1, so this has been 2a. This has been 2a. And once you'll differentiate bx, that is just been left out with b. So I should say the next requirement, the function to be differentiable is been 2a plus b has to be equals to of e minus 1. Until and unless both of the requirements are not been satisfied. What I am saying, until and unless both of the requirements are not been satisfied, the function can't be differentiable at x is equals to 1. If this condition is not been satisfied, by default I can say the function has been non-been continuous, and as it is not been continuous, by default it won't be differentiable, and same goes with this as well. So here fx is non-differentiable at x is equals to 1 for any value of a comma b. Fx is differentiable at x comma 1 for unique value of a comma b. Obviously it is going to be unique value. How did I know about it? We had a linear equation or non-homogeneous linear equation with two number of independent variables, and they have been a and b. 2a plus of b stands for e minus 1, and similarly a plus b stands for e. What I would do, I would subtract the first equation with the second equation. The b goes off. 2a minus of a, that has been a. Now what had been happening, e and e went out, and it has been minus of 1. So the value of a has to be precisely minus 1. And once you'll feed a is equals to minus 1, even the b would also be known to you, and the b is equals to of e plus 1. What I am saying, b is equals to of e plus 1. b is equals to of e plus 1. So this has been the unique values of a and b. Until and unless you don't feed a as minus 1 and b is equals to e plus 1, by default you won't be having the continuity as well as differentiability, and we won't be able to tell anything. So yes, unique value of a and b. So rather focusing over the point whether the function has been differentiable or not, they had taken this problem into the next genre, and this has been the best most answer. So here comes the next question. They have been seeking the limit where the limit n has been tending towards infinity of a function root over of n square plus of n minus of n square plus of 1. Usually this kind of questions are been bit complex question because we had not been so much thorough with this kind of problem. So read the problem carefully and tell me what could have been the best most answer. See, once you'll feed n tends to infinity, virtually speaking, it has been a polynomial. You can feed n is equals to infinity. Once you'll feed n is equals to infinity, this has been a case of infinity minus infinity. Whether you know or not, infinity minus of infinity has been a case of indeterminate. And as it has been a case of indeterminate, we will try to apply a L'Hospital rule, or otherwise we can use parcel over rationalization. The concept of rationalization has been completely up to you. So the first and the most important point which we had to take note of it has been, when we will feed n straight away infinity, the first term becomes infinity when the second term becomes infinity, and infinity minus infinity is neither been infinity nor been 0. It is been a case of indeterminate. Keep in mind, there are been the 7 different cases of indeterminate. Either it's been 0 by 0, either it's been infinity minus infinity, either it's been infinity by infinity. So total there are been 7 number of different indeterminate case. You should have a clear cut idea about those all 7 cases. Usually 0 by 0 and infinity by infinity has been a case which has been repeatedly asked. But this all are not only the case where the indeterminate case becomes or comes into the picture. Yes, comes into the picture. Agreed what I'm saying? Now, what we have been doing, let me focus over this function where the n has been variable. This has been n square plus of n. This becomes root over of n square plus of 1. Plus of 1. What I would do, I would just multiply with root over of n square plus of n. And as the multiplication is being taken, to just neutralize this equation, I would also take the division with the same term. If we'll move forward, let me apply the identity a minus b, a plus b. So here it becomes a square minus b square. And here comes denominator side. This. Agreed? Once you open this bracket, n square is going to go out. And the factor which has been left out is just been n minus 1. N minus 1. And towards denominator side, it has been n square plus n. See, whenever the variable is been tending towards infinity, it should also be always be operated towards denominator side. For that, what we have been doing over here, numerator n would be taken common, and similarly from the denominator n square inside the square root must be taken common. And if it is being done so, it is been limit n had been tending towards infinity. This is been 1 minus, yes, and towards denominator side, n square has been taken out. So it has been 1, so 1 by n, and then comes 1 this one. Yes, no? And again I need to feed n tends to infinity. Once I'll feed n tends to infinity, this becomes 0, this becomes 0. Virtually speaking, the result which is supposed to come, it is been 1 by 2. It is been 1 by 2. Did you really understood what exactly the problem was all about? Anyways, in the same sequence, let me move forward taking the next question. The problem has been a problem of modular function. The modulus of 3x plus 1 is continuous and differentiable, continuous but not differentiable, not continuous but differentiable, not continuous and not differentiable. Anyways, in entire real axis, in entire real axis. See, whenever the modular function do come to the picture, you had seen already this concept. Wherever the 3x plus 1 would become 0, or I should say x is equals to minus 1 by 3, the V shape would be formed. V shape would be formed. How the V shaped would be? The V shaped is going to be something like this. This has been a xy plane. Here comes x axis, a y axis. X has been minus a 1 by 3. V-shaped would be formed. As V-shaped is been formed, although the function remains continuous, nowhere the pen is been lifted while drawing this V-shape, but the curve will be formed at x is equals to minus 1 by 3. Virtually speaking, there would not be any unique tangent at x is equals to minus 1 by 3, or I would say the function had not been differentiable at x is equals to minus 1 by 3. So continuous and differentiable? No. Continuous but not differentiable? Yes. This has been the best most answer which you can have for this question. So here comes the next question, a best question. E to the power of minus mod of x is. The four different options again been sticked along with this question, whether they have been continuous or not, differentiability, continuous but not differentiable, not continuous but differentiable, not continuous and not differentiable. Read the problem carefully and tell me what could have been the best most answer. Read the problem carefully and tell me what could have been the best most answer for this given question. Okay, then this would be the homework, and I would request to each one of you, try to comment what could have been the best most answer for this given question, and be regular in the class. So this is all about the today's class. We will meet in the next class. Till then, bye bye. Take care.